Hey everyone, it's Vivi, and for this video I'd like to simply discuss. As 2019 is coming to a close, I felt like discussing these three mascots right here. Basically a recap video of 2019. This right here is called a nostalgia trio. Just looking at this, without a doubt, Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, it puts a smile on your face, right? This setting, the whole field and all that, and the mascot suits right here, might ring a bell for some of you. This was during the semifinals of a college football event, the 49th one by the way. The Fiesta Bowl existed for quite a long time now, 1971 to be exact. But nowadays, this event is held at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. In 2016, that was when PlayStation decided to sponsor this event. The logo stamped everywhere, pretty self-explanatory, right? Fiesta is also known for fighting for charitable causes. All money goes to children in need, education, sporting events, and all that stuff. So now, the reason you probably clicked on the video, since when does Sony acknowledge their mascots this way? Out of these three, one seems to always surprise us the most. Let me guess, Vivi's gonna say Sly Cooper? You are correct. But before that, let's set our eyes on our lovable Bandicoot on the right. First and foremost, Crash is Activision. This is a Sony-sponsored event. I'm not surprised, but a lot of you will probably think, this is kinda weird, Sony doesn't own Crash. So why do they have a mascot of this character at the Fiesta Bowl? Well, I mean, Crash Insane Trilogy started off as a timed exclusive on PS4. Sony saw the sales, Nitro Fueled is also selling really well, do not forget. Sony went as far as to make sure Crash Bandicoot's face is out there. This really feels like a nostalgic era, like no joke. Sony low-key wants to make it seem like Crash is theirs. UK buses, time to play footage while Crash on the buses mainly, not to mention the thumbnail of their video. The PlayStation account on Twitter, very recently, and the Crash Twitter account, shared GIFs and posts related to mascot Crash and the Fiesta Bowl. I did not see this one coming. Perhaps the same might apply to you. This is what caught people off guard. Like, why the heck, Sony? Why are you making these sudden posts with Crash during the Fiesta Bowl? So naturally, because of that, people started to think about a new game getting announced and stuff like that. There was this outburst of major curiosity on Twitter after all these posts were made. Like, look, I'm guilty of this with last year's Fiesta Bowl. I'll tell you why later. So about 2019, when it comes to Crash Bandicoot, I did talk a lot about Nitro Fueled, analyzing footage, all the Grand Prix we got and all that. There's still going to be Grand Prix in the future, so I'm looking forward to that. I also discussed the possibility, or rather, talked about rumored new game, which I have a feeling will release in 2020 on PS5. Rumored game, you say? What do we know about it? Well, according to two decently reliable sources over on Twitter, the game will be Naughty Dog style, multiple playable characters, Coco, Crash, Cortex even. It sounds pretty cool, but nothing's been confirmed, folks. These are just rumors. A new game on the horizon is not far-fetched at all. At least that's something we can rely on. Don't forget, Activision's earnings call from August 2019. President and Chief Operating Officer for Activision Blizzard, Cody Johnson, did acknowledge the fact that Insane Trilogy sold exceedingly well. The same goes for Nitro Fueled. With that in mind, Activision already feels they have the opportunity to innovate with this IP. You know, make games other than remakes. You know, actual sequels, for example. And don't forget, whatever happens to Crash happens to Spyro. That good old classic saying. Next up, our good old lovable Lombax Ratchet. Short and sweet, how can I put this? Do expect a new Ratchet and Clank game. I'm not gonna give you a date specifically, but if I were to make a guess, 2020 I feel that we'll at least get some sort of teaser. But I could be wrong at the end of the day. 2016 game? It sold enough. Okay, it sold very well. Let's just keep it at that. It was, fun fact, Insomniac Games' best Ratchet and Clank title ever to date in terms of sales, right after A Crack in Time. I always get comments like, hey Vivi, Insomniac Games hasn't announced Ratchet and Clank yet, what's going on? Does this mean we're no longer getting new games? It's been 3 years, Vivi, what's gonna happen? Don't worry. Insomniac Games now focuses on other games as well. They've grown as a studio, don't forget. Their recent one was Stormland. They got their team in Burbank, and another team in Durham, North Carolina. Just because they're working on one game, let's say, right now, it doesn't mean that everyone at Insomniac Games is just busy on that. They could already be planning their next Ratchet and Clank game. early stage, let's keep it at that. The only thing that we constantly keep wondering about is, will Insomniac Games continue after the 2016 game, you know, taking into account newcomers? Or continue with Into the Nexus sequel, or just make a new game and call it a new adventure? Well, technically it still would count as a sequel to Into the Nexus, kinda, right? This is actually something Brian Algier, creative director of the Future Saga, brought up on their livestream once. Wondering, hey, we still don't know if whether or not we should continue with the 2016 game or Into the Nexus. I mean, they have a point. Ratchet & Clank 2016, if it's sold exceedingly well, that tells us there's a bunch of new people to consider. The idea I'd love to see, for me personally, just an opinion folks, make a sequel to Into the Nexus. Forget about the 2016 game, just leave it as a game based off the movie. Just leave it as a standalone thing, no need to make a Going Commando remake. I know it would look beautiful with the style of 2016, but Going Commando, it's already great as it is. So what I'd love for them to do, which Insomniac Games is also on board with, remaster the Future Saga for either PS4 or PS5, and by remaster I mean an HD collection. Port those games over on the PS4. Heck, they could do the same for the classic trilogy. Although we already have a collection on PS3, it'd be nice to have this huge collection for PS5, let's say. But, as Insomniac Games has always said, they usually don't handle HD ports. So at the moment, the idea of an HD port by Insomniac Games, it's not very likely. So if we do get like a collection of some sort, we'll all get caught off by surprise and wonder, who's the team working on it? But hey, at the end of the day, if we do get, let's say, a sequel to the 2016 game, there's no sequel to the movie. So Insomniac Games will have much more creative freedom. More planets, longer game, a script written by the team itself. Writer of Future Saga and the 2016 game, while it seems like he's stepped down. So Insomniac Games has two choices, hire another writer, or use the staff to write the game. That's basically what happened with 1 and 2, the classic games, according to Mike Stout, ex-worker at Insomniac Games. As for the third one, Up Your Arsenal, it was the first time the team had a dedicated writer. Whatever happens, let's just hope the story is more appealing than the 2016 one. So about the whole Brian Algier thing, about making a decision whether a sequel to Into the Nexus or 2016, at least there's one person on the team who acknowledges this situation. Now, there was a rumor of a new Ratchet & Clank game this year. I'm not saying the game was supposed to get revealed this year, but the word came out this year. Kinda Funny Game and ex-IGN guy Colin Moriarty spoke up on a podcast called CLS Knockback saying, "We hadn't seen the last of Ratchet & Clank." Not too surprising there, the sales prove it, okay. But don't forget, this year marks the moment where Sony finally acquired Insomniac Games. Insomniac Games had been independent for years and years, and many were expecting this. You know, Sony acquiring Insomniac Games eventually. This doesn't come off as too surprising. Insomniac Games always had first-party studio vibe going on, especially with Marvel's Spider-Man. So with the acquisition of IG, short for Insomniac Games, ex-chairman of Worldwide Studios, Sean Layden, said that Ratchet & Clank is vital. Boom! Expect more games, everyone. That is one heck of a powerful word. Need I say more? Last but not least, oh boy, Sly Cooper, our favorite petless raccoon on the left. Okay, we got Ratchet and Crash. We get it, they're iconic. They brought in sales, we get it. They sold a lot. So what is Sly doing here? Like, it's cool and all that Sony is acknowledging Sly, but at the same time, you ask yourself, why? I made a tweet, a lot of people laughed about it. Like, at this point, any fursuit they find in their wardrobe, they're just gonna wear it. Sly Cooper being the prime example. I'm not complaining, it's just weird. They did the same last year, and this is what I regret. Sly was there, and many, including myself, got way too hyped. Cause it was just weird. Sly presumably dead, after the whole movie debacle. Showing up at Fiesta Bowl 2019? I mean, come on. They know how fragile we can get when we see any ounce of Sly Cooper related stuff. We've reached a point where people start counting cookies. Cookies? Cookies. I'm laughing. Have we reached a point where a certain number of cookies is a hint at Sly 5? This art, by the way, was created by Sucker Punch artist Edward Pun. This is lovely. This is made to, you know, congratulate Sucker Punch on their newly upcoming game Ghost of Tsushima. What came out of 2019 for Sly Cooper? Basically nothing. Well, actually, Sly Cooper, which is still supposedly getting a TV show, well, let's just say, whatever happens to the Uncharted movie, oh, have you forgotten about that one? 7th director, gone. Like, holy heck. Whatever happens to Uncharted, I feel like happens to Sly. Sly still hasn't reached that extreme, 7 directors. But Sly is also stuck in development hell, we can't deny that fact. Going from a movie to a TV show, moving from Rainmaker, the company who was going to make the movie, to a different company, Technicolor, who was supposed to make the TV show, to now supposedly PlayStation Productions taking over. We're talking about 3 internal changes. The fact Sly is stuck in this awful endless cycle is quite saddening. Sony knows people want more Sly, and having this fursuit right here is like adding salt to our wounds. I appreciate the fact, as I said, that Sony is kind enough to acknowledge Sly's existence, but at the same time, people can get way too overly hyped over things like this. But yeah, you know what, maybe I'm in the wrong, cause at the end of the day, we might have brought this on ourselves, getting too overhyped over little things. Sony probably thought, okay, what suits do we have available, folks? Oh, there's Sly Cooper in the closet, sir. Okay, let's use it, but sir, won't that get people too excited? Well, who cares? That's legit what it feels like. Do you get what I mean at all? It's cool and all. Yes, maybe we get too excited sometimes, but in the back of our minds we're like, Sony, why? Anywho, 2019 Sly Cooper, actually, Matt Kramer, Sanzaru, came up and said during an interview that they want more Sly Cooper. They love Sly. With the recent reveal of cut DLC for Sly 4, or should I say reiteration, this time they just brought up the topic to the mass public. There was a lot of media outburst, which is pretty cool. It sparked immense activity, something we've missed out on since the reveal of the, basically, canned Sly Cooper movie. Sony just recently teased CES 2020, Consumer Electronics Show, with headline, "The future is coming." There's going to be a press conference held on January 6, 2020. Usually Sony showcases non-PlayStation related electronics, but this time with the PS5 confirmed for holiday 2020, perhaps we'll get something there regarding the console. But don't expect game reveals as that's not its intent at all. All I'm saying is the PlayStation 5 is coming, Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, their future looks very, very bright. And hopefully Sly gets to see the light of day as well. We hope we get news on the TV show. That'll at least be something. Alright, so with that being said, folks, thank you so much for the immense amount of support you guys give me. It's awesome, it makes me happy. It puts a smile on my face, I'm not even kidding. If you're alone for New Year's Eve, what I recommend on doing, if you like to cook, cook. Or order your favorite food, get your favorite food or something. Get your favorite drink, lie in your bed, on the couch, and binge watch. Alright, so with that being said, guys, here's to 2020 looking bright. Hopefully we get news on Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. Honestly, if we do get news in 2020, that'd be super, because I feel like the series deserves it. So yeah, I've been Vivi, and I'll see you guys in 2020. Thank you for watching.